Hello and greetings from Southern California. I am proud to be here hosting another webinar for the Global Summit Institute. And I'd like to take a few moments to talk about a new program that we're launching. My name is Dr. Emily Letran. I'm a practicing dentist in Southern California. I've been practicing for almost 3 decades. And I am very proud to be part of the Global Summit Institute. And as a dean, we are spearheading a new program called Doctorate of Business Administration with emphasis in healthcare business. This is a program where we have three different tracks helping doctors learn the business acumen so they can close that gap that we usually have between knowing how to run the business and their clinical excellence. The three tracks are financial, business administration, and research. So on the financial one, we'll talk about personal finance, debt management, investment, um, acquisition, etc. On the business administration, we talk about business systems, marketing, team training, team building, positioning, um, influence, how to put yourself out there and create more impact in your community. And on the research track, we'll talk about research projects where the doctors can actually do a research thesis. And then if they, in the future, if they want to go work for certain big companies, pharma companies, or certain institutions, then that would definitely give them an edge to differentiate themselves from, you know, uh, quote regular practitioner. And so I would love for all of our doctors to take a look at the program, to go ahead and sign up. You can put in your information, submit an application. Let us know who refer you, or maybe you just see the us talking about the program right here on our partner, and you can apply for scholarship that will cover a big part of the tuition. And to me, the tuition is significantly less than if you were hiring a consultant who come in to help your practice. And this is a comprehensive program helping you run your whole business, helping you control and grow your finance, and also give you that edge in research. And this morning, it is absolutely my honor to invite Dr. Ray Khouri all the way from Australia to come and join us. Dr. Khouri is a visionary business leader and a doctor who founded a partnership model in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and now the United States. He is a strong advocate for doctors focused on accelerating the growth of their practice with complete autonomy and control of their destiny. Um, the success include the Dental Corp Canada for 400 million and founding the fastest and largest growing dental providers organizations in Australia and New Zealand. Um, he has multiple fundraisers with private equity investor, and he is passionate about helping doctors monetize the value of their practice. This sounds like it fits right in where we talk about finance, the finance track of our program, because that's where you can think about how to leverage what you have, which is your dental practice. And you're talking here about having other people help you grow, other entities help you grow, because again, it's all about leveraging what you have, which is your practice, and how to grow it. And with what I call OPM, other people's money, right? That's one of the motto in business. So Dr. Khouri, good morning here from California, and welcome to our partner.
Morning, Dr. Emily. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so I know we met briefly. We were introduced by one of our mutual friends
Yes,
in Arizona, and then we met briefly in Los Angeles a few
right.
weeks ago.
Mm,
And I could tell that you are very, very passionate about what you're doing. So
mm,
maybe you can give us a little background. Um,
sure.
I know you're based in Australia, and
Well,
whenever you
actually, I'm now based in the United States.
okay,
So,
well,
yes.
I'm talking about the going back a little bit before
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
Obviously, you were in Australia, and you have your own practice. And tell us
Correct.
what triggers you to realize that as dentists,
Mhm.
sometimes we're doing too many things by ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take you back. I started practicing in 1990. So I was a practicing clinician for 17 years. Um, However, in the midst of that, I ended up having quite a successful practice in Sydney, um, in the CBD of Sydney, Central Business District. It took me 13 years to get there. I had my own practices prior to that, where I started with a squat when I graduated. Then I graduated up further to another practice in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, and then I went on to the Central Business District. However, by that time, it was hovering around 2002, 2003, I became quite disillusioned as a clinician. I was generating a lot of money. I was becoming, I wasn't burning out, but I was at a crossroads in my career. It was it's a lonely profession. And I felt that I was at a point where I wasn't being validated as far as validation of what I'd created. It was difficult to realize a value amongst doctors for what I had done. So I was trying to create a vehicle that would validate doctors, the clinicians that were doing well, had great practices, and they were ready to get on to the next level of their evolution. Um, the micromanaged DSO model was not anything I was ever going to entertain. So I knew that was not the solution. It was all about creating a vehicle that would identify that we're all different as far as successful clinicians. None of us were broken. I didn't need fixing. I needed enabling and guidance, if you like. So in saying that, I came up with a blank piece of paper and wrote down what I believed were the solutions to attract the doctors that were still passionate about what they were doing. They didn't need to be fixed. They just needed to be harnessed, if you like. So by 2007, I was lucky enough to engage with the right financial groups in Australia who recognised that there was an opportunity to validate and harness the typical type of doctors that I'm referring to now, which I call the top 20%. Top 20% type A's that are doing well. They don't need to be told what to do or how to do it. Rather, they needed more back office support of commercial validation of what they had created to date, and ongoing commercial remuneration or valuation to keep them growing at a pace that is a reflection of their skill set and personality. So that became a model that was funded by the banks in Australia at the time. And my targets, I shouldn't say target, but I was sharing what I felt the solution was with doctors that weren't for sale, that were the best at what they did initially in Sydney. I had a list of 30 of the best clinicians in Sydney at the time. 90% of them took a leap of faith. It was like a breath of fresh air for them as far as this becoming a solution, where it was addressing their greatest fears, being controlled, which it's a total autonomy-driven, if you like, partnership model, and validating them commercially for what they had created to date, and allowing them to keep growing without anyone interfering in how they got there and being rewarded commercially for it. So with that in mind, we became the fastest growing dental service platform or partnership model in Australia within 12 months. Actually, we became the fastest growing company in Australia within 12 to 18 months. And within 2 years, we became the largest dental service platform in Australasia.
So I want to ask you a little bit about when you say that a lot of the doctors don't like the micromanaging, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It I think it's a little bit innate in our profession because we're working on a little space
Yes.
excuse me, we got real close relationship with our patient and with
Hmm.
our staff. And
Yeah.
sometimes we take things very personal, right?
Of course. Because
Everything is
I'm one of them. So I
okay.
understand that. So I have a lot of empathy for the doctors in regards to that. Now, just to give you a different perspective, there's three classes of doctors. You got the type A doctors, who are the creators and the innovators. And they're the ones that I align with. So that they are really good at what they do, yet they're all successful for different reasons. They have different skills, different personalities, different aptitudes, and different passions, and yet they're successful. This is why you can't micromanage a group like that. You need to let them, you need to harness and enable their own resources and help them get to their next level of evolution. And this is why what we've done has grown so quickly, and it gravitates with that type of doctor. And the second type of doctor is what I call the type B doctor. The type B doctor doesn't want to own their own practice. They just want to turn up, be in an environment where they're being mentored and led to an extent by a type A clinician who's guiding them, and they see their list of patients and then go home. However, they're contributing value to that practice. You're always going to get that type of clinician. And then you get the third type of clinician who's literally ready to retire, burning out, and they just want their last hurrah in the sunset, if you like. They're the ones, with all due respect, that end up joining those micromanaged platforms where they're being told how to do what they do. Everything's monetized, systemized. So they understand that, and they make a conscious decision to say, well, I've done my bit. I'm ready to retire, and this is where I want to be for the next 3 to 5 years, to have someone write me a check and then I leave. So what we've done is flip that on its head. We're attracting the youngest doctors, like the average age is mid-40s. Retention rate amongst our doctors across 3 countries was 98%. I mean, that is testimony to the environment we create. So we become the bookkeeper for these doctors. We alleviate the distractions. We help them focus solely on their clinical practice and on what they do well. So they become more creative, and we just enable their growth very quickly without managing them, without micromanaging. They don't lose their identity. They don't lose their autonomy. Nothing changes for them. So that's fundamentals of the model. So now I'm in the US, and the reception I've received in the last 6 months is nothing short of extraordinary. We're on track now to becoming the fastest growing company in the United States.
So you mentioned, with this partnership model,
Yeah.
you're allowing the doctor, or you support the doctor to focus more on the clinical aspect.
Clinical
And
aspect. Yep.
yeah,
And their creative initiatives, because doctors that are doing and I say that so respectfully, the doctors that are innovative and have the greatest respect among their peers. So they're leaders in the profession. If you allow them to focus on their creative skills, their growth just multiplies. It's an arbitrage of that. So we take away the distraction as far as, looking after HR, payroll, finance, IT. They're still making all the decisions at the practice level. And then we partnership with them in the sense that they have access to some of the best actuaries and finance people in the country to help them decide, how they should further invest in their own practice. And we give them capital to do that. And then, one location all of a sudden becomes 2, then 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 4. So we help them grow under their own auspice of their own identity and their own brand. And this is why it grows so quickly.
you mentioned I think you call them class 3 or class C. I forgot
Oh,
what was the number?
type C.
Yeah, the type C.
Yes.
And you're talking about the doctor who maybe, they're ready to retire.
Ready to
Um,
retire.
Yeah, so one of the things we focus on, for example, our DBA program is as a doctor, when you want to grow, it's you should, you don't need to just grow by yourself. You can also
Mm.
grow by having associates and specialists who come in, right?
Yeah,
Again, it's all about leveraging. So
correct.
if somebody is listening to us on this webinar, and they let's say they're someone like me, right?
Mhm,
And I say, you know what, it's I want to focus on something else. So let's say if it's me and I say I want to focus on my consulting and coaching business, but I don't really necessarily want to, sell my practice.
mhm.
um, and I already have some associates who are, associates and specialists in place. So I mean, I could remove myself from the practice, and the practice would still run. Would that be so? Between partnering, part, partnering with you and have you help me manage the practice while I'm taking my focus somewhere else, put it
Yeah,
that way, versus just go ahead and selling it. Um, tell tell
correct.
me tell me tell me why I should partner with you.
Okay, so we would look at your practice, for instance, and put a value to that and say what you've created has this value. And all we would say to you, so we would give you that commercial value all up front, and then say to you, all we want you to do is keep managing that practice at the level it's being managed at now. If you want to grow, we'll help you grow. So that enables you. So no one dictates to you what hours you work, what time you have off. So if you want to work, or you don't even have to physically be at the practice. So we've put a value to it with you already having extracted yourself technically. And we say, this is the value you've created. Here it is. And just keep doing what you're doing, basically. So if you want to further branch out into the consulting work, which you love to do, you can still do that. And we help you introduce other clinicians and grow that satellite that you've already grown with our support. So it enables you to reach your goals as well. So again, it comes back to no one micromanaging you. So it becomes a win-win situation. You've extracted a commercial value for what you've created to date. So being on your own right now, you're never going to extract that commercial value. There's an opportunity to that. So that valuation that we give you can help catapult your consulting business even further. And all we're
Okay.
saying, and all I'm saying to you is just keep maintaining what we valued
Okay. So I under
with our help, with our
right,
help.
right. So if let's say it now it sounds to me like this would be perfect for somebody who might want to slow down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Meaning maybe I'm slowing down in the sense that, you know what, I've been managing this practice, and by managing, I mean I'm the I'm the one boss, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
I may have other people working for me and everything already, but maybe I want to slow down a little bit. Maybe I want to take some of that admin task out of
Yeah,
my hands.
that's where
And
we become valuable for you. However,
good.
you're still directing the philosophy of that practice. You're still making the decisions. We are executing on your behalf with all the support platforms that we have at your disposal. You're still
So
making all those decisions.
right. So let's say if I have a practice, and I'm thinking of a friend. So if this doctor has a practice in one state,
Yep.
and he's gonna go move across to another state, right?
Hmm.
But he doesn't. He could sell this one
Hmm.
and just walk away. What's the advantage of, instead of just selling it outright, $1 million practice versus partnering with you? So
Okay.
where's the
With what we do, that they'll receive a substantial commercial value up front. And as long as they not stay physically, but emotionally still manage that practice, there's an ongoing reward mechanism as long as they're there. So we then revalue what that location or practice has grown to in value, and then pay another valuation at the end of the 3rd year cycle. There's an ongoing profit share, like literal year on year, 50-50 with us and the doctors. So they're always extracting a reflection of their contribution and value add. I mean, value add means just managing what they've got. And as long as it's growing, it's a 50-50 share and a second payment at the end of the 3rd year cycle, which is reflective of the same valuation we initially give them at the start. So it's always validation, continual validation. So if they're there after 5 years or 10 years, that location remains a profit center for them, that we're sharing incremental growth, benchmark that when we began with them. If it's 10 years, 5 years ago, that becomes quite powerful.
Okay. I actually have a couple of friends in Australia who already partner with you, and
Yeah.
and I know that they're very, very happy, and I know you're a little bit newer in the United States. When you're talking about,
Well, in the United States, we're a breath of fresh air.
well,
That's what we've become.
yes, yes. So you know, there are some of us, and that is why we created the Doctorate of Business Administration, right?
Yeah.
Because even when you are partnering with somebody else, right, like
Yep.
partnering with Dr. Khouri or any other entity, it becomes very important for us as clinicians to actually understand our business, right?
Sure.
Because it's otherwise it's like just giving it to somebody else to just run with it, and
Mm.
without you understanding the basic of the business and the
Well,
finance.
that's what we do for you. Like,
Right,
but
yeah,
you're aligning with some of the most sophisticated actuaries and finance people in the country that give
right.
you KPIs for your each month. And then we give you comparables on how your KPIs compare to other practices without identifying who the others are. But you're being given real life data that gives you comparables, not only for your practice month on month, but similar sized practices that become part of our group as comparable benchmarks. And that becomes very powerful as well. Because
So what?
type A doctors tend to be driven by wanting to be the best at what they do. And they want to never understand why they're not the best at in the group at running their practice. So
Right.
so we start sharing those initiatives with them.
So what would you say? So let's say if I partner with you, what kind of conversation do we have? So is it every month? You're gonna share
Oh,
this report every quarter?
no, it's every month. It's a monthly report. But in between all that, you've got access to all the support functions that we provide at the drop of a hat. It all comes back to how much information you want or how much support you want, and that's driven by you. Some
Okay.
doctors like just to have the report and, okay, leave me alone, I'm fine. Others like to engage every day. And it just comes back to that level of engagement is driven by you as an individual clinician.
Okay. And one of the most challenging things with running a practice, it would be the staff, right?
Yeah.
Having the right people in the office. Is that something that your partnership model, is that something that you support with? Is it you training the staff, or you help
It's
hiring the
both.
staff, or?
It's both. It's still driven by the doctor. So if the doctor says, I'm looking for a staff person and I need help, we leverage two platforms. Our HR platform, which is national in footprint, and or the existing doctors that have aligned with us. There's always staff members that are working 2 days a week somewhere and they're looking for an extra 2 days. So we start cross-pollinating that IP amongst the group. And that also becomes powerful. We've done graduate programs that we've paid for in other countries where we pay the salary of the new graduate, becomes our cost, and then integrate them into the platform of doctors that are interested in having new graduates. However, they're not paying for them, we are. So it allows the doctors at the practice level to integrate these new graduates into their culture without having the concern, oh my God, I'm paying for them. but we're paying for them. It becomes our cost to help the doctors, mentor them at a pace that aligns with their philosophy, their mentorship, and then whatever income they start generating for the practice goes straight to the practice as well. So there's all those nuances and advantages that if you go granular in this model, in this partnership, if you like, the advantages become quite significant for the
So
doctors.
in what you just said, if it's if you help um, recruit, right? Recruit an
Well,
associate.
recruit in a sense that we whittle down the CVs, we leverage our network on a national scale to help the doctors retain or recruit new staff. Ultimately, it's still the doctor's decision who they place in that practice. So we may come to them with 3 CVs after, putting out to our resources, which may have taken 2 weeks to whittle down, those 3 or 4 CVs after we've vetted maybe 100 or 200 CVs, and then present the doctors with these 3 applicants, if you like, and they decide in the end who they want in the practice. And if they don't like what we've vetted, then we just start again the cycle. So they don't have to worry about advertising, reaching out to a platform and then vet through the CVs. We do all that for them. And we then present them with a short list of 3 to 5 CVs, for instance, whether that's because they want doctors, new associates, or whether they want nurses or practice managers. It just comes back to where they're looking for as far as what type of person they want in the practice.
So because you mentioned, because a lot of time there's a big discussion when you're going to bring in an associate,
Yep.
and in certain states in the United States you can pay them as an independent contractor,
Yes.
and in other states they're employees, right? So
Yep.
if they employee, they would be paid by the practice and not by you.
Correct.
Technically. So how do you go about doing that? Because you just said that if you bring in the associate, you're going to pay for the first year salary.
No, I'm talking about new graduate. That's a graduate program.
Okay.
That's a different thing altogether. That's a graduate program that we help integrate new graduates into a practice where we pay for their salary for the first 2 years as a graduate. Yeah. And then after that period, it becomes a negotiation between the principal dentist and the new associate or the new graduate, where they're then transitioned on a more formal commission-based salary or whatever they choose to have at the practice level, agreed by the principal and the new associate.
Okay. So it's sort of like a program that would help the new grad find a position.
Correct. But it also helps the principal dentist. It's de-risking it, because the dentist or the principal doctor is not paying for that graduate to be there. So that alleviates the pressure of thinking, and most doctors do think that way, because I used to, oh my God, I'm paying this person a salary. I got to make sure they start producing to pay for themselves. So we've taken that anxiety away. We're paying for those graduates to be there for the first 2 years. So it becomes our cost. That allows the principal doctors to transition these young kids or young graduates into their philosophy, into their mentorship at a pace that is not rushed. And once they start generating an income for the practice, that goes to the practice, not back to us.
Okay.
And it allows those principal doctors to get a good feel for these new grads. I mean, 2 years is long enough to get a sense for a new graduate, if they're going to be a good contributor to their practice, if they're going to add value or not. So that became a very powerful tool.
Yeah. Well, I would hope 6 months, because 2 years is very long.
Yeah. Well, 6 months is usually enough. You're right. But then it allows those doctors to transition them in slowly enough, and enables those new graduates to gain their confidence as well. So it becomes a win-win on both sides.
Yes. So so from what you describe, I could see where for somebody who understand business, right, and not just blindly just delegate, what, take care of this business part for me, right?
Mm.
If you actually understand the business fundamentals and you understand how you can leverage other experts, um, and the auxiliary to grow your practice at a faster
Yep.
pace,
Yep.
and without sacrificing too much of your stomach lining, right? It would
That's right.
yeah, it would be like if you're owning, let's just say, like a hotel chain, right?
Mm.
It may not be a real good example, but if you're the hotel owner, you're not going to be the one that is individually at each hotel
No,
visiting them and making
no,
making sure
you're
that
right.
they
No,
actually run,
you're right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is almost a little bit like that, where you can still do what you love, but you can step back a little bit as far as being an admin, or overseeing the whole admin thing,
Mm.
and allowing the partnership to grow in that particular aspect.
And still benefit from it. Yes,
Yes,
correct.
yes. So why did you choose to do this? You could just do it for your practice, um, and for your friends. Why did you choose to make this an international model?
It by default became an international model. I wasn't planning on that. My sole goal at the time was to address, or create a solution for 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 me as an individual. Yeah, because I felt undervalued and unvalidated, and it just felt there was a disparity there. Like I had colleagues of mine that were in not pharmacy, but in business, and they were selling their businesses or creating value in their ongoing business of millions of dollars. And I thought, hang on, this is so unfair. I mean, we are, as doctors, whether medical or dental or the like, we're in the top 1% of intellects, whether we're in Australia, the United States. I mean, it's hard work to get there. And I felt there was a lack of validation for that. So it was something that was bothering me on a personal level. And that became a solution for, a lot of doctors in Australia, and word of mouth drove that into New Zealand, ultimately into Canada, and now into the US. So it just, yeah, I didn't have a grand plan. I just wanted to create a solution. And what I was seeing outside that as a platform, I'm going to say it, these micromanaged models, these DSO models, I was totally against that, totally. And I wanted to create a vehicle that would be an anti-platform to that and enable the type A doctors to feel validated. And that's what was my driver. I mean, this is why the average age in those three countries was mid-40s. I mean, that's testimony to the model. And 98% of the doctors all stayed. 98% retention. That's unheard of, as far as what we were doing. So I didn't have that grand plan to go international or anything of the like. It's just word of mouth. I'm following the path of least resistance. I mean, we could do this in the United Kingdom tomorrow. I've got doctors clamoring to be a part of something like this, but it's a matter of choosing your bandwidth. And now, just by, I call it divine intervention, I've landed in the US, and I'm feeling very vindicated to be here. The doctors here are wonderful, absolutely amazing people.
Um, I'm going to touch on something that we don't want to talk about, or we don't like to talk about,
Sure.
and it's the insurance companies, right?
It's
So
brutal here. I've only been here for this short period of time. What's going on here as far as insurance is nothing short of diabolical. I've never seen anything like it in any of the countries I've been in. And I've been in Asia, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I have never seen anything like this. It's
so
diabolical.
for those of us who have to deal with that, right? Let's say we join your partnership model.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
that something that you would help
Absolutely.
negotiate or
We've
drop
created
in?
we've created a functional support platform to deal exactly with that as a back office support. We've never had to do that in any other country. So that's number one on our agenda. So the short answer is absolutely, definitely yes. And in addition to that, we are working in the background to find an alternate solution that will benefit both patient and doctor in the United States.
What would that be? What do
I
you think
can't
that
tell
would
you
be?
right now.
We're only sharing this with
No, I
200,
know, I
200 groups
understand that,
and
but no, in the interest of not confidentiality, but it's been once you see that it needs to happen in tandem. Once you build the platform, you then launch this what I call the alternate solution. To speak about it beforehand is almost counterintuitive. But we are looking at major alternatives based on what's working in Australia, New Zealand, Canada. The insurance system here is out of control, and it's only feeding the insurers, and it's not beneficial to the patient, neither is it beneficial to the doctors. They are fixing your fees. That's illegal.
yes,
Fundamentally, that's illegal. They
right.
cannot fix your fees. That's what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yes, and that's one of the focus of our Global Summits Institute
Well, I'm telling you
is to
now,
get,
that's become my number one priority in the US to find
yeah,
a solution for that.
right,
And
right.
we are working on it in the background, I promise you.
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, also what we want to do is we want to equip the doctor with the knowledge and the tools, so they can run a more profitable business, and maybe they can steer
Extract
away.
themselves,
Yeah,
extract
yes,
them. Yeah,
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 like steer away from that model as much as they can, and
yeah.
attract the right patient to the
Correct,
practice who
correct.
can
I mean, that's
afford
another
whatever
way.
you want to do, right?
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
so we're tackling it in multiple directions.
Yep.
And yeah, and I would love to know what your what do you call it? Alternative?
It's an alternative. Yeah.
No, but
An
you had a name for it.
did I? An alternate solution.
Yeah. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah,
Alternative solution
yeah, yeah,
platform, right?
yeah.
And the thing is, so while we're on this subject, I think a big part of it has to do with media, right? The
Mm.
media, as a consumer, the patient's watching TV, and they always say, get this insurance and get that insurance, and because we're
Yeah,
going to
but that's
cover
driven
this
by
and
the
that.
insurers. Again,
No, no,
that's all driven by the insurance companies.
yes, I know,
Yeah.
I know. So how would you? And I know you can't tell me what you're working on, but how would you counter that with this media, y- you know,
Well, you
constantly
create
go?
your own media. See, word of mouth is the
Okay,
most powerful tool.
right.
Seriously, once and it's B2B. So once you promote an alternate product to not only the doctors but the patient, then it becomes powerful. It becomes value add everywhere. I mean, again, I know I'm speaking in riddles at the moment, but
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's about, and this sounds rhetorical as well. It's about creating that virtual win-win where the patient feels they're receiving value and the doctors know that they are receiving value for what they do as clinicians without feeling that they've been dictated to what fees. No doctor should be dictated to what fees they should be charging and what rebate they should be receiving for their work. That's ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
social. That's socialist. That's socialist medicine, which is you're in the United States. That's unheard of. You shouldn't. That should not be the case at all.
yeah. And that's, I mean, that we actually December. I'm blanking out the date, but in December we have our commissioner meeting, which
Yeah.
is for each of the vertical that we have for pharmacy, dentistry, medicine,
mm, mm,
optometry, chiropractic, and healthcare philosophy. We have
mm,
two doctors coming on, so there's a
mm,
total of 12 of us,
mm,
and we have this discussion, right? So we have this discussion every quarter, um,
mm.
and it's about these kind of big topic, right? Because when you're talking about insurance, um, consumer awareness,
Yep.
it's no longer just in your practice.
No, it's
Yeah,
become a
it's a
cultural
bigger,
thing.
yes,
It's ingrained. It's ridiculous though. But I can tell you one thing, Dr. Emily, there's strength in numbers. And when you have the alignment of the best doctors in the country, that's when a voice will be heard.
yes,
It's
and
there's
that's what
power
we're
in numbers.
creating. Yes, that's what we're creating with the Global Summits Institute.
Yeah. Well, this is
And
part of my passion for building this partnership model here in the US because
awesome.
the pain of the doctors is the same. These insurers are diabolical.
Yeah, yeah,
Diabolical what they've done.
yes, yeah. So I mean, I would love to stay connected and keep in touch with you and let me know about
Oh
that
yeah,
platform
100%. I'll
because
collaborate with you on that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because that's the conversation we have every day with our patients, right?
Mm,
That's the frustrating discussion that we see in the different Facebook groups,
yeah,
which is under the radar, right? Because obviously our patients don't know
yeah.
how frustrated
No,
we
of
are.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if if one of our doctors following this conversation and they feel, you know, maybe I should explore this partnership model with
Mm,
you,
mhm.
what is the best way to reach out to you
But
and have a
they can either
discussion?
reach out directly to my email address, and I'm hoping you can share that with them, or directly to you, Dr. Emily, and you can pass on their details to me.
Okay,
Or,
yeah, I don't have your email in my head, but yeah.
okay.
So that I mean, I'm
So I'm
so
happy if anyone reaches out to you, I'm happy for you to share my
okay.
email address. Yep.
Yes, yes, because I think I'm one of those people that I love options, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And in the sense that if you have only one choice,
No.
that's not good because sometimes what happen is when people know about the different options and
You're right,
all of a
Dr.
sudden that
Emily.
opportunity come up, right?
It's all about choice.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
It's all about choice. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes let's say they listen to this and then come Monday and some crazy insurance thing happen and
Yeah.
and they may say, you know what, I'm fed up with this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's the way to pivot?
Yeah.
Or maybe there's this other option of
Yeah.
partnering,
Yeah.
and then they would look into that
Yeah.
particular model.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you spending your time sharing this with us,
Oh,
and
it's my
obviously,
pleasure. This is a vocation for me. It's not a
yes,
job,
yeah,
you know.
and also, I'm sure it's been a journey, right, of you figuring things out,
Sure.
and obviously picking and inviting the experts to come and help you because you can't help some of us without the resources
Yeah.
that you're able to gather.
Mm.
I'm just going to check this real quick to see if there are more questions coming in here from the group. And it looks like it's being shared right now in more than 100 groups.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so uh, so the so the doctors from all over the world can see this, and because sometimes it may not be a model fitting for them, but they can always learn certain parts of it. And I'm excited that you have the platform because um, it's another tool, right?
Yeah,
It's another
absolutely.
tool for us to help us serve our patients better while we
100%.
not losing,
Well, I'm telling you,
a patient.
a happy clinician, a happy doctor means a happy patient.
Right,
It's
right.
fact.
Yes. And so how long are you gonna be in the US, and when is
In,
your
indefinitely, as long as it takes. Yep.
okay. So
Yeah.
there's no, because the last time we chat, you were kind of stuck here.
Oh no, I wasn't stuck. I mean, I'm on a mission. I'm
Yeah,
on
no,
a.
no, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, so but I'm glad because not everybody can do that. You know what I mean? Be able to travel
Mm,
and follow their dream, and I think that's a perfect example right there because there are some of us who may want to get out of the clinical aspect. They still love the clinical. They
mm.
can still have their own practice, right? They can still manage the practice, but
Yep.
maybe they've had that long journey of so many years doing clinical dentistry,
Yep.
and now they can step back a little bit, partner
Yeah.
with you,
Yep.
create a new thing, right?
Correct.
That
Yep.
are still producing income
Well,
for
that's what
them.
I call enabling. That's what the
Okay.
model does. It's an enabling model and a growth-driven model. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly a breath of fresh air, just
Oh, thank you. You're very kind.
giving a different look, a different perspective
Mm,
to to another partnership model. Because I like I said, I love options.
mm.
I love being the outlier sometimes, right?
Sure.
Yeah, like
The
you're the
disruptor.
yeah,
The
be disruptor.
disruptor.
There you go. But if you
Yeah.
can be a disruptor in a good way,
Oh,
a
yeah,
dis- yes,
absolutely. That's what I'm talking about.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because some people just want to disrupt and grab the
No,
attention.
well, that's right. No,
This
I'm talking about serving a greater good. And I
yes,
say that with a lot of sincerity and passion.
yes, yes,
It doesn't
eh,
work otherwise. If you're going to create longevity, it's about serving a greater good.
yes. Well, I certainly really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Oh, it's
And
my
uh,
pleasure. And thank you. Thank you
yes,
for having me.
and yes, and anybody who have questions, they can certainly reach out to me. And if there are further questions, I can always direct them to you,
Please.
right?
Yes.
And to understand
Yeah.
more. And
Yeah.
well, welcome to the United States. You already
It's been,
been several months.
yeah, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. I tell people I've been a work in progress to get to the US to make sure I get it right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And it certainly is a proven model, as you share with me. You've done it in
Oh, yeah, it's
Australia.
totally
You've done it
legitimacy.
in different countries.
Yes.
Um, Last advice for our listening doctors.
I would say just keep an open mind. Nothing is, no one model is the same. And just, yeah, an open mind in regards
Great,
to what we're doing. Yeah,
great.
that's key.
Yes, yes. And I think sometimes when we're so busy,
Yeah,
it's hard to keep an open mind, which is
it
why
is,
we're doing these webinars, right?
which
Because
is very
yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
You're doing a great thing.
you're busy. Well, on a Sunday, check out these webinars. It's going to give you
Mm,
either it's a little bit of a snippet of a new technique or maybe a
yeah,
discussion like this, which
yes.
is not what we normally talk about, right?
There you go.
Because sometimes people don't want to talk about it,
Well, no,
right?
that's right, but they may be
Yeah,
pleasantly surprised.
right, right.
That's
Sometimes
it.
they're not looking for it, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, I wasn't
Yeah,
looking for this, but that sounds kind
yeah,
of good. Like
that's
like
right.
like you go and
The
visiting a place.
universe, the universe usually works that way.
Yeah, right. It's like you go visiting a place, and all of a sudden you go back and you bought a house, kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because that opportunity was presented to you,
That's right.
and it's at the right time, and there's certain
Exactly.
emotional connection, and then you make the decision.
That's absolutely correct.
Yes. Well, thank you so
I
much.
couldn't have said that any better, Dr. Emily. Well
Well,
said.
yes. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Khouri.
My pleasure. Thank you for having
It's
me.
a pleasure, and
Thank you for having me.
yes, and I want to say thank you to all the doctors who are joining us on this group today. If you listen to this and you watch this and you think it's helpful, share with other friends. Just click the share button on our webinar, and a lot of time by the end of each webinar, you give it 1 or 2 days, we usually have 14, 1,500 people watching. And this is
Wow.
certainly something different, that, again, for me, I like to bring in options. I like to bring in different perspective. And everybody get your own data, look at your own thing, and make your own decision. But it's
That's right.
great to know, that you have options. And if you have any question, you can message me. And thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you, Dr. Khouri.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Emily.